Good morning students. Today we are going to learn patterns in Java. We would be using the for loop for doing so. Before understanding the patterns, let us see how the data is arranged in a table, because once you know how the data is arranged in a table, you would have a better understanding of arranging the data in form of pattern. Now, if I am talking about this table over here, which is shown on the right side, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the columns, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the rows. The data is arranged vertically across columns and horizontally across rows. If I am talking about a cell location, I am talking about 1, 0, 1 is the row number and the 0 is the column number. If I am talking about 3, 4, 3 is the row number and 4 is the column number, that is an orange color cell, third row and the fourth column. If I am talking about 1, 3, 1 is 1, 2, 1 is the row number and 2 is the column number over here, that is the first topmost row, third column, that is third cell in the topmost column. We can also compare it with an Excel worksheet, wherein the data is actually ABC are the vertical are the rows, and 1, 2, 3 horizontal are the 1, 2, 3 are the ABC are vertical are the columns, and 1, 2, 3 are horizontally arranged as rows. However, the cell location is always determined by the row number first over here and the column later. I will not say 0, 1, I will say 1, 0. Now, rows are represented by the outer loop and columns by the inner loop. Now, assume if you are to fill data for a student, let us say we have number of students for which the data has to be filled, and the name of the students are arranged in rows and the details are across the columns. So, for every student, his details, father's name, mother's name, age, gender, etc., it has to be filled. That means, for every row we have to move across all the columns, fill in the details, then move to the next row and proceed further this way. Same is the case here also. While you select a row, you fill all the columns first and then you move to the next row, and the data is again filled in these columns across the second row and further so on. Now, let us see an example over here. Now, over here I have shown a pattern. In this pattern, what is actually happening is the data is arranged in the rows and columns, and every row is ending with the number 5, but it is starting with a different number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many rows are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The rows are depicted in orange color over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the first column you can see in the light purple color, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means every number is starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the number of rows are also 5, and the data is ending till going till the number 5. That means for every one row we are ending with the 5. For second row we are starting with 2 and going till 5. For the third row we are starting with 3 and going till 5. For the fourth row 4 and going till 5, and so on. Now, how we will build the loop for this is, we will start for an x is equal to 1, that means the number of rows we have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the rows. So, we are starting from 1 and we are going till 5 and we are incrementing. And the inner loop, it says y is equal to x. Why y is equal to x? Because it is always starting with a new number and going till a fixed number, that is 5. So, y is equal to x in this case, because it is the loop which is the row loop and the numbers which is the first column are the same, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. You can see over here in the figure, it is clearly depicted that the row outer loop is also the same, and the columns, the data in the columns of the first in the first column is also the same. That is why we are starting with an x over here and we are going till 5, because it is always ending with the 5. Now, let us dry run this program and see. For every value of x, that means for each value of x, when x is 1, the loop is going to run 5 times after the 5th time what is going to happen is the while loop will increment, because the while loop is going to finish first and the value of y is 5. When the value of y is 5, what will happen? It will go up, it will increment the value of y, it will become 6. When the value of y becomes 6, what happens? It reads the condition and the condition is false. When the condition is false, it comes out and it reads the statement system.out.println and it moves the cursor to the next row. The next row, the value of x gets incremented by 1, the value of x becomes 2 now. When the value of x becomes 2, it goes to the condition, it says 2 is less than equal to 5. Yes, it is less than equal to 5. It comes in, it executes the inner loop, it starts with y is equal to x. So, that is why it prints 2 now in the second row, first column, and it again continues the loop like this till the number 5. When it reaches 5, it again checks, is 5 less than equal to 5? It is true. When it is true, it prints that value and increments the value of 5. It becomes, increments the value of y, it becomes 6. When it becomes 6, it again checks for the condition, 6 is less than equal to 5? Yes, it is less than equal to 5. So, it is greater than equal to 5, the condition becomes false. It comes out, it moves the cursor to the next row and increments the value of x. Now, the value of x becomes 3 and so on. So, let us see when it becomes 5, when the value of x is 5 and the value of y is also 5. So, when the value of x is 5, it checks for the condition, is 5 less than equal to 5? Yes, it is less than equal to 5. It is equal to 5. It comes in, it says y is equal to x. Y is what? 5, x, and x is what? 5. So, 5 is equal to 5? Yes, it is equal to 5. It is true in this case and it prints a 5. When it prints a 5, it increments the inner loop, that is the while loop, it becomes 6. When it becomes 6, what happens? It checks, is 6 less than equal to 5? No, 6 is not less than equal to 5. So, it comes out and the cursor moves to the next line and it increments the value of x also. Now, the x becomes 6. Now, it checks, is 6 less than equal to 5? No, the condition is false. When the condition is false, it comes out of the outer loop and nothing is there over here and the program ends, and this is how this pattern is printed in this case. Now, let us see another example. Now, in this example, every number is starting, every row is starting with 0 and it is going till different digits. First row you have 1 element, second row you have 2 elements, third row you have 3 elements, fourth row you have 4 elements, fifth row you have 4 elements. Let us see how this loop works. For I over here, instead of x and y, I have taken I and j. For I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. I could have written over here I is less than equal to 4 also. That is equally good because less than equal to 4 is always less than 5. So, but here I have taken a different type, that is why I have demonstrated with I is less than 5. I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. Now, when I say 0 is less than 5, the condition is true. It comes in, it says for j is equal to 0. When j is equal to 0, j is less than equal to I. Why I over here? Because over here we have seen that the number of elements in each row is increasing and it is something should be there. Now, in the first row we have 1 element, in the second row we have 2 elements, in the third row we have 3 elements, and the outer loop also, if you consider, if you see in the diagram which is shown, 0, the first row has only 1 element, second row has 2 elements, third row has 3 elements. So, we could always depict it by I over here. That is why in the inner loop I have written j is less than equal to I. Now 0 is less than I, 0 is less than equal to 0, yes, the condition is true, it prints a 0 over here and the increments the value of j, j becomes what, 1 now. When j becomes 1, it checks, is 1 less than equal to 0, yes, the condition is again, sorry, 1 is less than, not less than equal to 0, the condition is false. It comes to the next row and the cursor remains on the next row because system.out.println is there, but nothing gets printed over here as yet. So when it does not get printed, it goes up again, it increments the value of I in this case and again runs the loop in the same manner. Let's consider that when the condition becomes 4, that means for the fourth row, for the fifth row, when the condition becomes the value of I becomes 4, and that in the diagram it would be depicted in the fifth row when the value of I becomes 4. So in this case what happens, for the fifth row when I is equal to 4, I is less than equal to 4, the condition is true. So in the fifth row, first column 0 would be printed and j would increment itself, j will become 1 now. When it becomes 1, it again increments, it checks the condition, 1 is less than equal to 4, yes, it is less than equal to 4 and it prints the next value and so on. Let us say when j becomes 4, what will happen? When j becomes 4, it checks 4 is less than equal to 4, the condition is true again. When the condition is true again, it prints that value and increments the value of j again. So j becomes what? 5 now. When j becomes 5, what happens is it will check for the condition again. When it checks for the condition, it says 5 is less than equal to 4, the condition is false. When the condition is false, it comes out of the loop, moves to the next line and increments the value of I. Now I becomes 5. Is 5 less than 5? Yes, the condition becomes false, outer loop becomes false. 5 is not less than 5, it is equal to 5. So the outer loop also ends and the program ends over here. This is how this pattern is printed. Now let us see example 3, that is the pattern number 3. Over here children, I have 5, we are starting from a value 5 and we are ending with 1 over here. The number of columns and the number of rows though are 5, but the values, if you see over here, if I am talking about the column, it is starting from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and when I am talking about the first column, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 value is being printed, and if I am talking about the first row, that is which is depicted by number 5 in orange over here, again 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is being printed. That means this is a decrement loop which is being shown over here. That is why we have, if I move from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1, it is, though it is the same, but it again depends upon how the value are being shown or printed on the screen. So though it will move for 5 times, but either it would be in ascending order or it would be in descending order. Let us move to the direct to the program. X is equal to 5, x is greater than equal to 1. It is true. So it comes in, it checks for y is equal to x. When y is equal to x, y is equal to x means the value of y is what? 5 right now. When the value of y is 5, it checks 5 is greater than 1. Yes, it prints 5 in the first column, first row. First column, first row, it prints 5 and it decrements the value of y. So when it decrements the value of y, the value of y would be 4. That means y is actually being printed in the columns and x is being printed in the rows. X will determine from where the row will start and y will determine what is being printed in the across the columns. So, in the same way it is going to repeat for 5 times in the first row, 4 times in the second row, 3 times in the third row, and so on. Let us consider the case when it is reached number 1, that means for the last condition when the value of x is 1. When the value of x is 1, what happens? So, 1 is equal to 1, condition becomes true. When the condition becomes true, it comes in the inner loop. It says y is equal to x. Y is what now over here? 1. 1 is being printed and the value gets decreased. It becomes 0. Is 0 greater than equal to 1? No, the condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false, it comes out, it moves the cursor to the next line, does not print anything, decreases the value of x. Now the value of x becomes 0. When the value of x becomes 0, it actually does not satisfy the outer loop and it ends the loop, and this is how pattern 3 is printed. Now let us see the pattern 4, which is entirely different. Over here what is being printed? 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 4 5 5 5. Now if you consider it very carefully, can you see in the orange bar 1 2 3 4 5 is printed, and isn't the same thing being printed in all the rows, across all the rows, across all the columns? 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 4 5 5 5, and you know the outer loop is for the x loop is the outer loop and the inner loop is the y loop over here in this case. So if I print x over here 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 4 5 5 5, so what would be printed? Value of x is being printed. So because every time for each value of x the loop is going to run 5 times. So when x is 1, it is going to print 1 5 times. When x is 2, it will print 2 5 times. When x is 3, it will print 3 5 times. When x is x, y is x, so it will print y, that is x, it will print x times. So that is why I have printed, I am going till x, I am printing x every I am really sorry for this explanation. When x is 1, it will print 1 5 times. When x is 2, it will print x 2 5 times. When it is 3, it will print again 5 times. When it is 4, again 5 times. When it is 5, again 5 times. So that means every element is printed 5 times, but it is only when in the first row 1 is printed 5 times, in the second row 2 is printed, in the x row x is printed 5 times. That means in the x row x is printed 5 times. So for x is equal to 1, we have to print x only 5 times. So I am starting for x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, and then how many times I have to print y? 5 times. And what is being printed in the while loop? X. So 1 1 1 1 would be printed, and again 2 2 2 would be printed, again 3 3 3 would be printed, and so on. When there is such kind of a loop wherein the values are the same across the columns, you always have to print an x. That is one more thing to remember this, or to analyze the situation, that when you have something like this, across the columns the values are being printed, not across the rows. When across the columns the values are being repeated, that means the outer loop value, outer loop variable has to be printed inside. Over here the outer loop variable is x, so that is why we are printing x inside. So this is how it will be printed. Let us dry run and quickly see it. For x is equal to 1, x is less than equal to 5, yes, condition is true, it comes in y is equal to 1 and y is less than equal to 5, it is true, it will print the value of x. 1 is printed 1 time, again y gets incremented, y becomes 2 in this case. When y becomes 2, again condition is true, so 1 is printed because the value of x has not been incremented as yet. Again y becomes 3, x is printed, value becomes value of 1 is printed again, then 4, 1 is printed again, then 5, 1 is printed again. Now it becomes 6. Now it does not satisfy the inner loop. Y, the value of y, 6 is not less than equal to 5. When 6 is not less than equal to 5, it breaks the loop, comes to the next line, but does not print anything. It increments the value of x, x becomes 2, and so on. The loop repeats itself and it continues till 5. And when it reaches the 5th row and the value of y also becomes 5, it increments the value of y and it becomes 6. When it becomes 6, what happens? It does not satisfy the condition. It comes out of the loop, moves to the next line and increments the value of x by 6. When x becomes 6, the condition becomes false. When condition becomes false, it moves to the next line, ends the program, and this is how pattern 4 is printed. Now let us see the pattern 5 over here. Pattern 5 is something very different from all the patterns which you have seen till now. Now herein what is being shown is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All the values are incrementing. So for that, the simplest and the easiest way to do this is, first of all, you count how many rows are there. Herein 4 rows are there and 4 columns are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 columns. Herein the 5th column is shown unnecessarily, which is the yellow column. But 4 columns are there, 4 rows are there. So the outer loop 1 till 4 and inner loop, you have in the first row you have only one element. So I have written less than equal to I over here in the inner loop, and I have taken an another variable, extra variable, k is equal to 1, and for every time when I reach inside the inner loop, I increment the value of k. How? I is equal to 1, I is less than equal to 4, condition is true, it comes in, it says j is equal to 1, j is less than equal to I, j is less than equal to 1, 1 is less than equal to 1, condition is true, the value of k is printed, k is what? 1. So in the first row, first column 1 is printed and it increments k by 1. Now k in this case has become 2 right now. So the value of k is 2 right now and it goes up and increments the value of j. J gets incremented, j becomes 2 right now, and when I have over here instead of I and j, I have taken x and y in the dry run. I have whatever I have shown over here, you could consider it as I and j. So instead of y it is j and instead of x it is I. So when the value of j becomes 2 now in the and the value of I is 1, the condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false, it increments the I loop and the value of I becomes what? 2 now. When it becomes 2, what happens? It increments, it comes in again and it checks, is 1 less than equal to 2? Yes, the condition is true. When it becomes true, it now since the value of k was 2, 2 would be printed and the value of j will increment again and it will become 2. When it becomes 2, 2 is less than equal to 2, it is equal to 2, the condition is true again, it prints 3 because now the value of k is what? 3, k has been incremented inside. Now again value of j gets incremented, it becomes 3, the condition is false. When the condition is false, what happens? It comes out of the loop, moves to the next row and then it increments the value of I and I becomes 3 in this case, and in the same way it becomes 4. When it becomes 4, let us consider the case when I is 4. When I is 4, what happens? J is equal to 1, j is less than equal to I, j is less than equal to 4, it will print the value of k, 7 is printed, then in the same manner 8 is printed, in the same manner 9 is printed. When 9 is printed, that means the value of k is what? 9, the value of j is what? 3 and the value of I is what? 4. So when the value of j is 3, the value of I is 4, the k printed value is 9, what happens? The value of j gets increased. The value of j gets increased and it becomes what? Right now 4. When it becomes 4, what happens? It prints the value 10, because k plus plus is only encountered once the value of j it goes inside the inner loop. It prints 10, it increments the value of j becomes now what? 5. When it becomes 5 is less than equal to 4, condition becomes false. Condition becomes false and it comes out of this loop. It increments the value of I becomes what? 5. Is 5 less than equal to 4? No, the value of 5 is not less than equal to 4. So, what happens? It actually comes out of this for loop, which is the outer loop, and the program finishes here. This is how pattern 5 is printed. Now, children, I want you to actually do this worksheet 9 based on lecture 11. If you have any problems, you could always ask me, and then we will move further in the next session, wherein I will tell you how to print star patterns, different patterns based on star or different type of other patterns. And this is all for today. Thank you and have a very nice day. And if you like my video, please click on the like button, and if you have any doubts, please you can post it in the comment section also, or we could discuss it in the class. Thank you.